I think that it will just help us have one place to go to have this overview of everything being in compliance. And when you listen to the people talk about liability and all the other ramifications of non-compliance, we think that while we've done this in these individual units and done it well, it's time to take that next step where we actually can prove it on an on-time basis anytime. So this is enormously important for the board because we ultimately have the liability as individuals. And so I'm very pleased that I've been able to participate in this, and I expect to be bringing you regular reports because, as I say, the buck really stops with us.
So the compliance committee meetings are monthly?
No, quarterly.
Okay. So then why don't we get them on a rotation so that we get those updates?
Okay.
Please. That would be great.
Good. Ron can take care of that. Thank you, Ron.
The delegation, Georgia.
In healthcare, the regulatory readiness isn't like 100 things, it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of things. So this will make our lives easier as well once we aggregate this into a workable tool, and it'll help guide us so that we can avert any omissions.
And what you do in one place doesn't mean that you don't do something absolutely the opposite in the next place. So it's pretty hard to keep track of.
And sometimes what the feds ask of you is different than what the state asks of you, different than what your own county may ask of you. So it's good because this gives us a place to measure those differences and come up with strategies to try to meet all the requirements of outside bodies.
I'm glad it was time well spent. We're on to item number 8, general public questions or comments. I think in the past we've had a little bit of confusion about what the public comment section was about. So in looking at what other boards have done, and with some input from Dr. Kamelmeyer, we decided to go ahead and put this on our agenda so that there was not, the questions were kind of answered ahead of time. We do value public input. It is not a requirement that it be in our public meetings, which I find kind of interesting. But we've always put it in because we do value public input. So there's information on there for you, and as a courtesy to the board, we would just request that if you do have a public comment, please come to the podium. We may not address your concern right away, so if you would give us your name so that we could contact you later if you have a concern, that would be appreciated. So at this time in the meeting, I'd like to go ahead and open the floor for public comment. Is there anyone who would like to speak? Mr. Bourne.
Rob Bourne, Green Bank. I see you have a 3-minute limit. So
Actually, that's always been our, it's been an unwritten policy. It's been a stated policy, but unwritten. So that's why I wanted to put it on our agenda.
Well, I want to speak to everyone at the tables here today. You've all heard the saying, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. Well, the kitchen's being set up on the lawn of Captain Whitby Inn this Thursday, and the doors open at 5 o'clock. I think you all know that the nurses of our community are holding a rally and a barbecue. As a self-styled journalist, I'm going to be there. As a candidate for the hospital board, I'm going to be there too. Now, it's easy to find excuses to not be there and say it might be inappropriate, we don't want to be taking sides and that sort of thing. But this is an important event in our community. It's an almost unprecedented event. It's important in the whole history of the hospital. I don't know when anything like this has ever reached the stage where union negotiation has broken down to the point an organization of 200 or 300 people are trying to take their case to the public. So I urge you all to attend. And even if you feel uncomfortable or it may not be totally proper to be at the rally because you'd be registering the support of one side or another, you've still got an hour between 5 and 6 o'clock to have a hot dog and be at the barbecue portion of the event. This is an opportunity. We've heard all morning today about the opportunity to be heard and let people speak and share views with the public. Well, the public's going to be at this event in addition to who knows how many nurses. This is an opportunity for you members and the leadership of this hospital to socialize, to greet, and most importantly, to listen. Let these people talk to you one-on-one and say what's on their mind. I urge you to be there. I urge you to be open-minded. And why are we having this event? Because we're trying to resolve in a contract negotiation. It needs to be resolved. We've got several hundred people walking the halls of this institution who are obviously disgruntled. They're probably angry. Some are undoubtedly mutinous. I'm not saying it's easy to just settle a union negotiation, but we have to pick up the pace. We've probably been negotiating this contract for 6 months until the contract expired on March 31st, and now we're 4 months into negotiations further and apparently some mediation efforts. We need to speed this up, get this thing behind us, and have these people come into this hospital, the lifeblood of the hospital, these many, many nurses, in a happy and inspired mood. Thank you.
I appreciate your comments.
Jerry, could you get us a legal opinion on whether or not it is appropriate for any one of us or majority of us to attend something like that, since we're in contract negotiations? I would be concerned about the legal aspects of it and also the open public meetings aspect of it.
If more than 2 of us are there, it would be an open public meeting and it would have to be.
We'd have to advertise.
It would have to be
Do we have
advertised.
time to advertise it?
You need 24 hours.
Okay.
May I redress and clarify some things that were stated that are different than my understanding?
Yes, you may.
There was no formal negotiations with WSNA prior to the expiration of the contract. That is not correct, Mr. Bourne. We, the hospital, are the bodies at the table that have encouraged going to mediation, showing our good faith and our good hand that we wanted this resolved. So that information needs to be stated honestly and correctly. This is a complex negotiation, and we are not the only hospital in the state of Washington. As a matter of fact, many hospitals right up the road from us and in the area have been in negotiations 1.5 to 2 years. So we are not an outlier, as you've stated. We've had 3 mediated sessions thus far, and a 4th is to be scheduled August 17th. And the last session, I believe the nurses union and the hospital walked away feeling very encouraged, not discouraged. And like other area hospitals, these are difficult times, and it's difficult not only on the individuals represented by the union, but it's difficult on all employees in this hospital. This is about patient care, and this is about employees or teams. However, clear progress is being made, and we look forward to the next mediation session, and the hospital looks forward to the opportunity to resolve the differences at hand.
Thank you for clarifying that for the board. Appreciate that. Is there anyone else that would like to step up to speak?
I would like to speak. Good morning. I'm Gwen Perrick, and I am a co-chair for our unit for WSNA. I will say that we started actually negotiations, maybe the month prior, had some meetings. I will say this is a very tough negotiation. And we are having a tough time. And we feel that there are some issues that are very important that need to be addressed, as I know the hospital does. So I don't want to diminish at all how difficult this has been for nurses and I know for the hospital. There are some very strong things that we feel need to be addressed. So I will just leave it at that. I want to put forward that we have a group that we are standing for and we're committed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gwen.
Anyone else?
And, while the EMS guys are here, you know, they've done a great job out being the face of the hospital out in the public. And Chris, you just need to pass it on that it's not unnoticed. You know, we see the fact that you guys were at the Pig Fest, you guys were at the night out, National Night Out, you were at the fair, you were at the Arts and Crafts. We really appreciate the fact that, you know, you guys do get out there. I see the amount of runs. I see you guys are always out on runs, it seems like, but you still are being able to fit those in. And so it's not unnoticed that, you know, several of us do see you guys out there all the time. So pass it on that throughout your whole group that it's appreciated and you guys are doing a great job out there.
Thank you, I will.
Thank you,
Okay,
Chris.
thank
You bet.
Just one question, Bobby. Down on my note, Jerry told us about the employee tea. Is Mary heading that up again this year? Mary Waters or?
No, that is HR.
Oh, HR is doing it. Okay.
Mary does the picnic, employee picnic.
Yep.
The employee conference. That's Mary.
Okay, so the picnic would be Mary Waters, and then the tea is the HR. Okay, great. Thank you very much. It's a lot of hard work, so I just wanted to make sure that we acknowledge the right people. Thank you. We had agenda item discussion on some education. If there's anything else that the board would like to see added to as an agenda item, please let me know. We're on to item number 10.
I move to adjournment.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.